Namaste, and welcome back to Unburdened Soul, Journeys of Self-Discovery. Today, Brother Navo and I will be discussing the search for enlightenment and inner peace through meditation and self-reflection. Gone are the angry ways that once represented this show, and now we only wish to enhance your calm and bring you one step closer to being one with all things. Just kidding. Coming to you live from the lowest form of content creation, this is episode 28 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. I am still your furious host, Berzerker, and beside me, as always, is the man who's tanked up on Rage Hall and ready for a throwdown at the slaughtered lamb. He is Navox. Welcome back, sir.
I wish you happiness. That was so good.
Namaste.
Namaste.
You know, the best part, so for anyone that missed this, on Twitter, I put out a little, April Fool's thing. Even though I guess I was supposed to say April Fool's at one point, but I didn't, because I'm terrible at this kind of crap.
I think everybody knows at this point, don't trust anything on the internet that day.
It's the one day that people actually scrutinize what's on the internet. And I put something out saying that we were going to retool the show, that we were going to be doing some sort of, transcendental meditation something. I actually had a lady follow me on Twitter.
Nice.
After posting that, thinking that it was legit. So, again, folks, you got to know your audience. That's really... Maybe
we've been... maybe our audience just isn't the right audience for our show. We have to change it up.
I was too convincing. Yeah. Some lady out there really thought that I was abandoning the concept of our show and that I was no longer going to be doing a Warcraft podcast, that suddenly now we were down the path of peace and enlightenment. So she quickly unfollowed me. So I think she figured it out rather quickly when she probably pulled up the show and was like, what the fuck is this?
I can just imagine her tuning in.
Rage! So yeah, I've been a little under the weather, so bear with me on this episode as my voice and nasal passages try to make it through this episode. But other than bamboozling the world on our end, how have you been, sir?
Been really good, actually. I've been leveling up my druid again, still trying to get enough item level and legendaries to work on the mage tower stuff. That's really, really annoying. If you're not used to playing a class and you play an alt and you're trying to get through the mage tower stuff, it's, the tanking one, I blew through it on my Prout Warrior without an issue, but having a lot of issues on the Guardian Druid for some reason. Hopefully next time it's up, I'll be able to blow through it this time. Once that's all done, I'll work on the feral stuff too. Other than that, my raid group downed 2 new mythic bosses this week.
Nice.
Yeah, we got Portal Keeper down, and we got ENR down. Portal Keeper gave us some trouble, but ENR...
That fight sucks.
It does suck. Having to deal with the big AoE, dealing with the ads. In Mythic, if an ad gets a cast off, everybody's dead.
And by that, by sucks, I mean that it's a difficult fight. Not that it's a badly designed fight or anything like that. It's a well-designed fight. It's a pain in the ass to do.
It's a really well-designed fight, and it's a really fun... Well, I'm not going to say it's a fun... It's not a fun fight. It's
challenging.
It's challenging, right. Now, ENR on Mythic is more fun than ENR on Normal and Heroic.
Well, it's not much of anything on those.
I think it's more fun because there's more things to do in Mythic. You're going up to you're actually going up to the ship and you're destroying a person on the inside. You're unleashing these crystals and then you go back down, and it's impossible to die by jumping off the edge. You just get thrown back up top. It's just a fun fight. And other than that, I've just been dabbling a little bit in alpha. I finally got alpha access, and
yes,
so I'm really excited about that.
Unshackled Fury is finally out of the no alpha club.
Yeah,
we've been let out of jail.
How about you? I know you said you were under the weather. Did you jump in a game at all this week or anything like that? Or?
I tried. I spent most of the time in bed, sadly, because I couldn't see, and my sinuses felt like they were about to explode out of my face, which is... I don't usually get that kind of thing, but when I get sick, I get sick.
Right.
And,
yeah.
But hey, listen, the show goes on, I think, as they say. I did get a little bit of time in. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to either raid this week, but I did try to get in a little bit of time on Alpha, which we'll talk about later, and I also was able to get some time in on the Death Knight that I'm slowly but surely leveling along and enjoying the hell.
That's good.
I'm enjoying the hell out of the story that they have painted for that sucker. The whole Death Knight artifact quest line where you're raising another set of 4 horsemen, and you're getting commanded by the Lich King. And I mean, it's, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We are going to get Lich King Revival Electric Boogaloo at some point.
I get that feeling too. Like I'm the more I think about it, the more I get that feeling that he's going to come back in some fashion. And I don't think Bovar's last service was taking on the mantle of the Lich King. I think he's going to come back and help us with whatever's, what we're dealing with in Battle for Azeroth. Some old god shit,
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm getting that feeling.
It's hard to say because the thing with the Lich King is it's an entity. We're getting into a little bit of lore here. The thing with the Lich King is that over time it becomes a burden. It's like the One Ring,
right?
Being the Lich King is, depending on who the individual is, it'll destroy them eventually,
right? But what I'm getting at though with it, I know where the story's coming from, but it exists on Azeroth, right? And there's always some sort of balance to Azeroth, and without that balance, you throw things into turmoil. I have a feeling that because this old, I know we're going off rails here, but we're dealing with an old god again, and if the old god throws things out of whack completely, we're going to need all the help we can to bring it back into balance. And if we need this, Blizzard has a thing about redemption stories of their baddies, Illidan being one of them.
They really do. They're very much into saving people from themselves and well, even the story of the Horde. Okay, we're really going into it now. Even a lot of the Horde makeup is of races or factions that were deemed to be, beyond saving. I mean, that's why the Forsaken joined the Horde. The original Horde, the old Horde, they were the bad guys, and then Thrall and his new Horde became the good guys, and then they joined up with folks because the Tauren thought that the new Horde could be good, and the Forsaken could be a good partner against the forces of the Lich King. And, so there's, they do love those stories, don't they?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to do something new. I know people love new things. So we're going to do something new for the first time. A reverse rage segment. Here we go.
Let's rage.
So if you'll recall, I have lamented on more than one occasion about how the collector's editions have worked, and how, one, if you buy the physical collector's edition, you're essentially getting screwed out of all of the cool stuff that's happening in the meantime, while people who bought just the digital edition get all the cool stuff. Right? Does that sound about right?
It sounds about right.
Okay. And the complaint that I've made is that essentially what happened in the past is that you bought a digital edition, you got all the access to the stuff. Okay, cool. Then you buy the collector's edition. Well, do you get a refund? No refund. You got an extra game key to give to your friend. So you still essentially had to buy the game twice, which I never understood that. I thought that was a terrible decision. And I've spoken out on this more than once. Well, now, here we are. Big news this week. Battle for Azeroth has a release date. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They also announced the items within the Collector's Edition and the existence of the Collector's Edition, because I think it was not quite confirmed that it existed.
Right.
But one of the clarifications they made is what happens if you buy the digital edition and then you buy the physical Collector's Edition. And they made a change, so now you don't quite get screwed like you did before. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to kind of walk this one back a little bit, where you're not exactly going to get your money back, but what you are going to get is the money that you spent, essentially the extra money that you spent, is going to get refunded to you through your Blizzard account, which at first glance you're kind of like, well, then you're still kind of keeping my money. Yes, but you can use that balance to pay your monthly subscription cost.
Or you could also use that to purchase another copy of Battle for Azeroth, which comes with Legion right now.
You could do that too.
So, I mean, there's a couple options you have there. So, yeah.
So I've been pretty adamant, pretty vocal about this in the past, the fact that I thought that how they had mapped this out is ridiculous. I still think that there's got to be some way to get the game code into people's hands quicker if you get a collector's edition, because even still, I ordered it. We'll talk about this. I ordered this, but I still have to wait until August.
Right.
And none of the in-game perks are going to hit until then. So I'm still a little unsure of why I can't get a digital code of something that's tied to whatever copy I'm going to get, or just, again, sell the physical stuff separately than the game, so that way people aren't necessarily held out of the good stuff. But I want to say I'm going to walk this back in the first ever Reverse Rage segment. Good on you, Blizzard. That's not a bad way to hit the middle of the road on how to encourage people to buy the digital deluxe and still be able to get the physical collector's edition later. So I congratulate you, and I guess we're one step closer to sanity. So that's good. All right, with that out of the way, we have plenty of news to get to. Battle for Azeroth has a release date. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive into our news. All right, the announcement is official. Battle for Azeroth will be going live on August the 14th of this year. I'm still somewhat in shock that this has actually come to pass in the way that it has, but here we are, man.
Yeah.
Summertime. It's looking good.
Coming out at a really good time. Dead of summer. It's going to be hot. People want to be inside playing video games.
Are you going to be taking any time off to rage and rampage through these wild new lands we're being exploring?
I will, absolutely. You know, I know the game will come out. Now, it'll come out 3 a.m. on Tuesday. So
3 a.m.
My time.
That's
right.
right.
Because East Coast time. So it'll be out 3 a.m. And the last expansion with Warlords, I remember being in game and just having it go live, which I thought was the coolest thing. Same thing with MoP. You know, I remember being in game with MoP and it just went live. They've improved upon it with Warlords and then with Legion. And, I'm expecting the same thing here. So if you want to be in the mix, you know, when stuff goes live, just be in game maybe an hour too early, because you know how the login servers are. Anybody who's played the game knows how the login servers get whenever a new expansion comes out. But yeah, I did take some time off and just to enjoy the expansion, because it is. We got an alpha, and again, we'll talk about it a little bit, but playing through alpha, it's huge. And I don't necessarily know if I really want to rush my ass through the content because of what they put into this game. It's hitting one of my interests. The way they did all of the scenery and the way that Tiergard's sound looks, it's amazing. And without giving away too much, I don't know. You're going to be very, very pleased as a WoW player with this expansion. It's just huge. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean,
yeah, what is it? Borealis, I think, is the Alliance hub. Where
oh my God, yeah, that place. Oh, the ships. It's gigantic. Like, think of Stormwind times 3, and I mean, the buildings are amazing. It looks like Lake Town from Lord of the Rings. It's really, really amazing, and the music's great too. I mean, and when is it never great? I mean, I'm just stating the obvious there. So,
so have you done questing in your alpha experience? Have you actually been following quests and doing all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Actually, I did a couple quests. I jumped into alpha 2 nights ago after raid, and it was kind of a mistake for me because I was falling asleep as it is, and I was like, I want to go play some alpha. So I jumped in, and I was more interested in riding around the city and just looking at everything. The ships are gigantic, the scenery, the graphics. I'm very pleased with that. But then I jumped. I'm like, all right, let's do some quests. One thing I noticed, they condensed the UI a lot. I actually might switch from doing all of these add-ons that I use to going back to using the default UI.
Oh,
yeah. So I really like
that's
the way
big.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the
Eagles.
Yeah, I haven't seen the actual UI with the game in probably, I don't know, 8 years.
I feel like the UI that I have right now is just dogging my experience down. I feel like there's a lot of pauses and things happening in game that may not happen if I have all these add-ons turned off.
Oh.
So I'm going to
resource hog.
Yeah, I think I'm dealing with a lot of resource hog add-ons. But other than that, I ran through, did some quests. There's a lumber mill area that I happened across. I don't know if it's the flow of quest. I don't know if I'm following the right flow of quests. I imagine I am, because you only talk to so many NPCs and they're like, go here, go do this.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get used to I'm actually playing Arms, not Fury, because Arms seems to be it's a lot of fun. It flows really nicely. The questing's questing. It's not, I haven't noticed anything different about that. I did notice that big item level. I noticed that the big item level decreases there. I know. I saw
the squish is in effect.
The squish is in effect.
I hit that guy for 300 damage. Amazing.
But it feels good. You start off at 110. It feels good. It doesn't feel like you're underpowered in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I plan on hopping into a little bit more and experiencing it. I don't like ruining it for me. I also don't like, for now, I don't want to do too much to where when it does finally hit live, that I'm like, oh, I did this already. This is boring. I don't want to hit that. But
yeah.
How about you?
Speaking of that, the last time that I played a significant chunk of back when it was a beta was in Cataclysm, and I burned myself out. I did way too much in the beta because it was really the first time I'd participated in one in some sort of meaningful fashion. Mm-hmm. And I must have done the Hyjal area like 3 or 4 times. And I saw it when it was in a completely different iteration than what it ended up becoming, which was kind of neat to see. And that's one of the things I love about the alpha now, is now that we're both in it and able to check it out for ourselves, is I haven't really done a lot of questing. What I've been doing is just going around and exploring. Just jumping up on my Black War Tiger, because for some reason that's always been my favorite mount. And I just have been running around seeing as much as I could see. And in some places they start to port you out when you've gone too far, particularly out in the water and stuff like that. So they do have some barriers in place so you can't explore too much, because there's an area I think that might be an entrance to a raid or somewhere near a raid. It's this big giant octopus looking mountain thing. It's freaking crazy looking. And you can't really get that close to it because they start to port you out when you try to go around it. You see where they haven't quite finished putting certain things together, where you'll see like the straight edges of this place now meets this place, and there's not a lot of ground cover to kind of blend the areas. Or I climbed up a mountain and there was just a random gate with some Alliance soldiers just right on top of this mountain for no reason. And then there was above it, there was just some other random stuff in the air just suspended up in the middle of nothing. And for me, that's what I really like about seeing the games this early is you get kind of a look into the process that they go through before you get to the final product. And it's kind of like the same reason you watch, if you do, the behind the scenes documentaries of how they make a movie, or with the collector's editions for WoW, you've typically gotten some sort of a CD or DVD that has how we made the game, and they'll show you like all these little interviews and clips and stuff. And so this is like the real-time version of that, where you get to jump in a game and just ride around and see what's going on. And there's like a random quest that's in one spot that they probably aren't going to leave it there, but they just needed to stick it somewhere for the time being. And then you have no idea what you're doing next. And I think that that's just one of the coolest parts of getting to check out the alpha. And they've said that the beta is coming relatively soon, that the benchmark for that is essentially that all areas, I think, are open and there's only one left that's not. And so we're getting pretty close to the beta. So if you've not gotten alpha access and you've been holding fast, waiting for something to open up, it sounds like the beta is coming around the corner. It's not going to be too far away. Now that we're looking at August 14th for the release, you're looking at probably early July for the pre-expansion patch.
Right.
Which means that, honestly, man, we're only looking at a couple more months.
Right, and I forget what they're called, but there are casters that are in Legion right now, and they've got their countdown clock again going, that cast.
I think they've debunked that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I saw a post on that recently.
I saw that on Wowhead, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that there was an update on that saying that these now are just it's just something that's going on in the game now. It doesn't actually have some meaningful, because I think it times out at some random time and people are like, oh, what does that align to? It's nothing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we were all excited about that, but apparently now that's not such a big deal.
Now, you had mentioned you came across some, you just struck interest because I didn't know about this. You said you came across some octopus-looking statue?
It was like a mountain, and they'd carved a giant octopus head out of it. Like, it was octopus head and tentacles and
old god stuff.
It's some pretty old god stuff.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of the other things that I wanted to bring up too, when we're talking about the release date. So, one of the things we talked about with the release date with Battle for Azeroth is we're hoping that it stays on this continuous cycle, that was the promise that was made to us, is that regular content releases, that's the goal. And it's a question sometimes of perception versus reality. Go figure, gamers dealing with perception versus reality. So with Battle for Azeroth going live August 14th, you're looking at 24 months, 2 years, because Legion came out the end of August of 16. So you're looking at just a couple weeks shy of 2 years. Now, I know for a lot of people, it seems like this is coming pretty quick. This is actually right in the middle of the road when it comes to how much time has passed between expansions. And to give you an even bigger, I guess, perspective on this, a lot of us felt like the break between Warlords and Legion was fucking forever.
It was.
Like, that felt like it was the longest slog. That was the shortest time between expansions of all of them, at 21 months.
Oh, which one was that? Between
Warlords and Legion.
Warlords and Legion
actually had the shortest time between expansions, at 21 months.
Oh, okay.
Warlords came out November of 14.
Okay.
Legion came out August of 16.
Okay.
The longest actually was between Vanilla and BC, which was 26 months.
Okay.
Now, Wrath to Kata, which was a long one, was 25. Mist to Warlords was also 25 months. So it seems like if you're just getting under that 2-year mark, people are happy. It's when it's that extra 3-4 months. You're like, God damn, guys, I can't keep paying for this.
I know. It's always so...
But yeah, in terms of total breakdown, Vanilla to BC was 26 months. BC to Wrath was 22 months. Wrath to Cata was 25 months. Cata to Mists was 22 months. Mist to Warlords was 25 months.
Wow.
Warlords to Legion was 21 months. And now we're right at 24 months between Legion and Battle for Azeroth.
Wow.
When you look at the numbers, it does kind of shock me because it feels like some of these were longer and some of these were shorter, but the dates are the dates, man.
Yeah.
So we played through some alpha, kind of got a flavor of things. But of course, there are updates coming all the time. There have been a host of interviews that have been done with devs just in the last couple of days. Looks like some folks were flown down to Blizzard on the Mike Morheim American Express Black credit card. Good for them. And they got to talk to some devs. And there was also at least one or two, at the very least, that were done at PAX East, which just occurred this past week. And as part of all of that, there was a whole info dump on Battle for Azeroth and what's going on. So tying back to one of the questions that you had asked, it sounded like in one of the interviews that Trade Chat had done with some of the devs is that we are definitely going to be getting Old God stuff sooner rather than later.
Something's going to pop up sooner than later because some minions show up. And
minions.
Some Old God minions show up. And with what you had just told me about some octopus-looking thing that's been, carved into a mountainside. Everybody's been, talking about N'Zoth as one of the old gods that happens to show up here. And, it makes sense with everybody going war crazy here, and people's minds aren't exactly what they are, especially with everybody, compiling the Azerite, and people were concerned with animals eating the Azerite and seeing what would happen to these animals that are eating the Azerite. So we'll see, we'll see what happens there. But
get your war front squirrel.
Yeah. One thing that we also did pick up was that the races available on August 14th will be the Magar Orcs and the Dark Iron Dwarves, with the Zandalarian Koltirans coming out at a later patch, which is okay. That's fine, because you don't want to, I think they want to space out the content. They don't want to give everybody everything at once, and
right.
It makes the content last longer. As much as I'm just, I want to roll a Koltiran, but I'll have to wait for that one.
Oh, patience is a virtue.
Yeah.
Are you going to be rolling your Dark Iron Dwarf Paladin as soon as it's available, like I will be?
Are they able to be paladins? I didn't see that.
They got their own sweet paladin mount.
If I play a Dark Iron Dwarf, it's either going to be a warrior or a shaman, because dwarves and shaman, I like playing a shaman. Believe it or not, I think shaman are a lot of fun to play, and I think I might make a Dark Iron. I'm going to go get that name, Dork Iron.
You are a dork, I know. Listen, we're all nerds here.
Oh, man, that's funny. I'm writing that down, too, because I'm going to go get that name after this.
Yeah, you better save it before this episode comes out.
I know.
Screw you.
So, also one thing that came out, they were talking a lot about Warfronts, and
yes,
something I think we're both interested in because of the armor.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
I think I've made this statement a couple of times, but it is entirely likely for me that World of Warcraft is going to become World of Warfronts.
Yeah.
For me as this expansion goes, if nothing else, because we finally, after my great lament a few weeks ago about where the hell is all my good Alliance armor, well, we finally got it. And holy smokes, is it amazing. So it looks like there are a few tiers of armor that are going to be tied to the Warfronts and your completion of them or participation in them, or however it works, we don't quite know yet. But the armor that they have, it kind of reminds me of how in the old days, I've talked about my favorite sword, the Lionheart Executioner, how there were different versions of that, and you upgraded it 3 different times, or 2 different times, and so you had 3 different versions of it, and each one was like bigger and badder and more aggressive and crazier and the whole thing. These tiered armor sets tied to the Warfronts are kind of the same thing, to the point where the shoulders, because of course this is Warcraft, baby, so you got to have big, giant, imposing shoulders that, frankly, you could Kool-Aid man through any wall with these bad boys on. And the ones that they have for the Alliance are, it's about as Varian-esque, I think, as we're ever going to get. And in fact, based on some of the color options that they've shown, you might be able to pull off a near Varian transmog if you take the belt from one set and the boots from another and the shoulders from another and this and that. It's not a 1-to-1 match, but it's that glorious plate, silver, blue, gold. It's very Alliance heavy. And then even for the Horde side, it's that classic red and steel, that heavy plated badass look that they're very famous for, particularly in the artwork. If you've seen the art book that Blizzard did, it's this big, huge coffee table book, and the cover of this has essentially figures from each of the franchises that they have. This is prior to Overwatch, and right on the cover you have an Alliance soldier and you have a Horde soldier, and they're both in this kind of gear, and it's perfect to finally see like a high definition version coming into game. And based on what we're hearing about how Warfronts work and how long they take to do and how long they'll be out and the way that they work, this may become my second job, and I'll probably love doing it. What have you seen about them?
Okay, so what I've seen so far is that you're gonna have the Warfronts are gonna be these huge instances. It's a 40 to 50 minute time investment for you, basically. And what'll happen is Horde and Alliance will fight over an area, and then whoever wins will get a set of quests that they need to go and complete, while the other side goes and mines resources to build up your armies to launch an attack. Once you've built up enough resources to launch an attack, you will then get control of the area. It's not going to be this server's Horde heavy, so we're never going to get this zone.
No more Alterac Valley.
Correct. It's going to go back and
the
forth.
Old school.
Exactly. It's just going to go back and forth. And, eventually you will, for winning some of this stuff, you're going to be rewarded pieces of armor or items that you can use to purchase the armor, things like that.
They haven't quite hashed that out.
Right.
Yet.
It hasn't been right. Exactly. Don't take that face value, but eventually you're going to get these armor pieces. What I got out of it when I was looking at this stuff is I'm probably going to go with an Alliance Tier 3 set with an Alliance Tier 2 boots, because the Tier 3 boots look silly on the armor the way it is. I'm not happy with them. I like boots to be gigantic. I like the boots to match up.
Yeah.
I get how, you want to be in a V pattern with your physique with all, but the boots,
it's all about the silhouette.
The boots have to look right. And you got this big armored dude and these little ballerina slippers on, and it just doesn't look right. So,
in the spirit of WrestleMania, I'll challenge Stone Cold Steve Austin here and say that you want a set of boots that you can stomp a mud hole in a man and walk it dry.
There you go.
And if you don't feel, especially if you're a plate wearer, if you don't feel like that, then it's just, you might as well, just be barefoot or, wearing ballet slippers or something, which just would not, I don't know, ballet slippers, they got that hard toe. You could really kick someone's ass with one of those things.
Now, one other thing that I learned coming out at PAX East was I was watching Shack News YouTube channel.
Who?
I just came across it recently. It's the Shack, SHACK News. Shack News.
Are you sure you're pronouncing this right? Because I don't want to get any more hate mail.
I believe I have that correct. Now, hang on. Before we go any further, let me go and paste this in. There it is, shacknews.com. There it is.
Okay.
So, so this YouTube channel had some coverage of PAX East, and they were interviewing Daniel Stahl, who's one of the game designers.
Okay.
And I found out about something called advanced NPCs. I don't know if you've heard about this yet.
Advanced NPCs.
Advanced
no.
NPCs. So currently when a mob runs up to you, it just stands there till you kill it.
Yes.
Okay. So
Except
now,
for a couple of those little whiny bitches that run away.
right. So now with advanced NPCs, they're going to react to your actions.
No.
So the example given in this interview was, so take Sneaky Pete, who's an undead rogue, and he's part of a 3-man NPC team. NPC team that's just running around. And you're gathering up Azurite in one of these war fronts or just out there in the world.
Okay.
So the NPCs detect you. Sneaky Pete, being a rogue, vanishes, breaks off from his team, and follows you. Right? So then
I don't like where this is going.
Then you'll encounter him, and say you throw down an AoE or something like that. Well, he's going to jump out of that. He's going to move out of that, and it's just these mobs are not going to be just the mobs where you're just standing and going toe to toe with them anymore. They're going to react. They're going to react to what you're doing. So I think it's going to make for a more fun, enriched environment for gamers to play this game. I mean, because honestly, all we're doing is we run up, we charge a mob, and you just, you're train punches left and right. So,
oh boy, I don't know. I think I'm too much of a casual at this point to handle that. Well, that's good. Again, it's part of the thing about this game is that. So I've said in the last couple of years that there does seem to be a renewed sense of direction and enthusiasm for the development of Warcraft and their ability to look at old systems and say, how can we change this long-standing thing to be more dynamic, to be something different? I mean, we even saw quickly before we recorded, we were looking at one of the interviews that Panzer had done with Muffinus and another developer, and they briefly mentioned how the weather's changing again.
Yeah.
And they're going to make it more dynamic. And you had said that was akin to what now?
So in Witcher 3, there are, when the weather changes, there's certain abilities that you'll gain and things like that. So, but in what we're seeing here is in what I think what we're going to see in World of Warcraft is you may see, clouds come over a hill and trickle down and just envelop the camera while you're going through. You might see a blizzard roll in. You might see, rain start off in the distance and wash across the land and eventually come up on you. And rather than, how it happens right now, it rains and then bam, it just stops. That's it. There's no gradual, the rain coming down and then it trickles off. It just comes down. You go into a
zone and suddenly boom.
Boom, it's raining. Boom, it's done raining, So this, I think I'm glad that the developers are having fun doing this kind of thing. I think it probably started out with, hey.
I hope so anyway.
Hey, look what we could do with this. We should do this. Cool. Let's continue on and develop, our game. I like that. I like that idea that, there's some developer who came up with an idea for this and they're just having fun with it. And it's going to be really, really, amazing for all of us.
That's the kind of thing I guess I don't really think about with NPCs. Back to what you were talking about is, like a super NPC or like an intelligent NPC. It's the updating of the AI, right? It's what's making
the AI is going to get smart and kill all of us.
Stephen Hawking, rest in peace, that poor guy. He warned us. And this is how it's going to happen. It's not Skynet. It's not Elon Musk. It's going to be World of Warcraft NPCs.
That's right. World of Warcraft NPCs.
Taking over the world. Oh, God. We're so screwed. Well, before we jump off of this topic, the one last thing I did want to say is that the Warfronts apparently will be on alpha servers sooner rather than later. And hopefully if those are up between now and the next episode that we do here, you and I will have to jump into this together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jump into Warfront, and so we can report back next time and give you folks the down and dirty on what to expect, at least in the alpha version, which, listen, we could be starting with sticks and rocks and, who knows what. And by the time we get to live servers were blowing up cannons and
jumping in
shoulder-mounted RPGs and shit.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that we get to jump into tanks and things like that, like we did in Old War. That would be fun to get
the old Winter Grasp.
Yeah. There you go.
That could be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. That could be fun. All right, so enough about Alpha. I want to talk about what really matters. The Collector's Edition.
That kind of derailed us there.
So like I said in the Reverse Rage section, very happy to hear that the Collector's Edition is alive and well, and now we're finding out what in the hell is in it, and this one is going to be different. And again, I have to say, Warcraft is kind of like The Last Jedi. Let the past die. They're really trying to move forward and try something different, and we'll have to wait and see how that actually looks when we get it in our hands, but it is a different direction. So let's talk a little bit about what is in the Collector's Edition this time around. If you want to spend your hard-earned $99, so we'll round up and say it's $100 for this thing, and what do you get? Well, for the first time, it does not appear that we are going to get an art book, which was one of the, if not the central thing that I got the collector's editions for. It wasn't fame, prestige, glory, or otherwise. It was because the art books were so amazing and still are in all of the past expansions. They give you an insight into how they developed characters and zones and the aesthetic of what you're going to be playing through. But this time, you're going to be getting something different. You're going to be getting what they're calling a double-sided storybook, which are going to contain two novellas. One is called Elegy, the other A Good War. And these two will tell an Alliance side story and a Horde side story as it relates to Battle for Azeroth. And it looks like it's going to be perhaps one book that'll just have the two novellas in it. And as part of this announcement, kind of as an aside, they did release excerpts from both of them. And I know you and I really enjoyed the one which was actually the Horde side story, A Good War, but it talked about an Alliance character that, quite frankly, has not had a great battle reputation up until now.
No, not at all.
So what did we get there?
So I read the excerpt on Wowhead, and I wish some of the stories that we read here that we're going to get with this collector's edition could be visually displayed within the game.
Yeah.
I think if we could see Malfurion go about what he's doing, where they launch. Okay, so if you go out to Wowhead, you're gonna see it. If you get in the collector's edition, you're gonna see it. Basically, the Alliance launched a decapitation attack against the Horde. What we see in this, or what we're reading about it, is how Malfurion is just laying waste to the Horde left, right, and center.
Like a boss.
We don't get to see him do any of this stuff in game.
No.
But the way they describe it, like how the Horde try to react to him, he's just so fast that he just shreds them. Like he just shreds the Horde, and that he's going for Saurfang. And Saurfang at this point is of the mindset that this is it. I'm going to die. Like I can't take this guy on. I never got into Malfurion because in game he's portrayed like a whiny bitch in game. Like it's just
true story.
He and Tehran are just in game. They're doing their own thing. They only care about the night elf things, or it feels very self-absorbed in a way. Yeah. But now we're get to see him in somewhat of an action event, and it's I don't know, it spoke more to me reading it than the hours and hours and hours that we had to follow them around in quest line. And it's like, come on, just do something cool already, it's like
just do something cool, man.
Yeah, come on.
It is a good point, though, and it's something that I think people have talked about for quite a while, is that there are stories now. There's so many, and we'll talk about the Chronicle here in a minute. But there's so much good stuff that happens with character development outside of the game now, and has for a long time, actually, with all of the novels and the short stories and all of these kinds of things that happen, that you don't really get to see all of that in the game. And particularly for Malfurion, who has been much maligned in his blasé attitude about all the stuff that we've been doing. I mean, he's been absent for so much, and you're like, why? You're supposed to be this guardian and this whole thing, and then what are you doing? You're doing nothing.
And then the icing on the cake was the end of Legion, where Illidan's just like, here, take this and take this gem to Tyrande and to my brother. And then the two of them are just like, cool story, brah. That's it. It's like he writes this like TLDR post, and they're just like, well, yep, guess that happened.
I'm going to sit on this bench and think long thoughts. You go endlessly fight Sargeras in the abyss of space. We'll just be here chilling. But yeah, it was good to see Malfurion kind of get up into some business there. And one of the things, too, about this storybook, I guess we're calling it, is that Christy Golden, who is writing the Alliance side version of this, which is great because I love Christy Golden, and I'm so glad that she's part of the Blizzard house now officially, that she's an employee there, that she's helping them write their lore, their stories, because she's so with it, and she's got it, and she understands like us as players, and I love her writing just in general. But she has said, have no fear about there not being an art book this time around, because there's going to be tons of art in this book, and so it won't be the same kind of developmental art, I think, that we've seen in the past. But if it's one thing I've come to see with the collector's editions, they put a good chunk of money into making these things. So I don't feel like we're going to get cheaped out. I do wish that we were going to still get the art book, and it doesn't look like we're going to get some of the peripherals like we used to. Like, I'm playing with my Legion mouse pad that I got from the collector's edition, and I've swapped those out for years, and apparently that's not going to be in there. But let's talk about what else is going to be in there. So we'll get this double-sided storybook, and then we're also going to get something totally new and different, and I don't think anybody could have guessed this, is a Horde and Alliance double-sided Mark of Allegiance, which looks like kind of like a giant 3D coin. It's like a pound. It's pretty good size, like palm-sized coin that on one side is the Horde emblem, on the other side is the Alliance. It's going to come with a custom stand, so you can display this proudly for all to see in your dining room window, to your streets, and to all your neighbors that you are, a force for the Alliance or the Horde or whoever. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, it's it's a trinket. It provides no value other than, it's part of our nerd junk. But I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. And then I think eventually we'll see YouTube videos of cats jumping up on things and knocking it over, people heating it up and branding themselves and things like that.
Now that's a good idea.
Like Indiana Jones, just
Oh God! I pray somebody doesn't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Come on,
don't do that.
Don't do that at all.
Show if you do.
Tongue in cheek here, guys. Relax.
Yeah, don't blame the show. Just blame Navox. I don't want any fun of that. So we get a double-sided storybook. We get a double-sided Mark of Allegiance that you can brand yourself with. You can also get a collector's edition digital soundtrack. We're not going to get the CD anymore because I guess we're, moving on into the 21st. Geez, I'm too old for this crap. So you're going to get a digital soundtrack, and people like me can download it and burn it onto a CD because we're fogies. You're going to get all of the stuff that came with the digital deluxe, the Gilded Ravasor Horde mount, the Sea Braid Stallion Alliance mount, which is super cool. You'll get Toddle, the baby Tortolan pet. You'll get a character boost to level 110, which I'm sure I'll use because I'm a lazy ass, and I'll boost some character I won't then play for another 2 years. Of course, there's all the other stuff for the other games. Hearthstone, you get a card back. For Heroes of the Storm, you get a mount, which I think comes in a couple colors. Overwatch, there's some emotes, icons, sprays. Same thing with StarCraft. You get some sprays. For Diablo, I thought it was really neat that for Diablo 3, they were doing nothing. So if you're a fan of Diablo, I don't know what to tell you. It's a great game. I've had a lot of fun smashing on stuff, but man, what the future of that franchise is, I do not know. But that is essentially what you're getting with the Collector's Edition this time around. Now, there's probably going to be a couple of other random things that they'll throw in there. I know with the ones in the past, they've thrown in a couple of extra, like Hearthstone card packs and some other random things of cards you can scratch off, get a code, that sort of stuff. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we can give them away on this show or something, because I never really seem to use them. But that's it. That's what you get. That's what you get for your $100. Get a super awesome book. I'm assuming it's super awesome. Telling some stories from both perspectives. You'll get the coin, the big mark of allegiance, which is pretty cool, and a whole host of stuff in game, so you can prance around and show everyone what a true fan of Warcraft you are, and the fact that you have disposable income. Hooray, disposable income. Speaking of disposable income, something that's a little bit more attainable, I think, for the $25 to $30 range, is the World of Warcraft Chronicle Volume 3, which just released in the past couple of weeks. Now, you know I'm a big lore junkie, and you know that I will read this stuff until my eyes bleed, and it almost did as I was finishing it last night, so I could come in this morning and record this show. Whereas Nav, I know you're a little behind on the lore. Here is what I'll say about the Chronicles in general, is the Chronicles are a great way to catch up on lore if you don't have time to read the, 20 novels at this point, to play every character, every race, through both factions, to see every little thing, to go back and play the RTS games. I mean, if you don't have time for all that, and if you didn't do it as it was current, the Chronicles are a great way to gain as much of that knowledge as you can, so that way you at least have sort of a working knowledge of lore going forward. Now, it's not quite perfect, because there's some places where you're like, well, this still doesn't quite mesh up with this thing over here, this thing over here. But they do a really good job of trying to button up loose ends and tie things together in a pretty crisp way. These are not novels. We're not going into long speeches about who it's all told from third person perspective of this person did this and this person did this and then this thing happened here and here and here. So with Warcraft Chronicle Volume 3, what we now get is us, the players, finally getting involved in the goings-on of Azeroth and the Great Beyond. Essentially covers the time from Warcraft 3 up until the end of the Cataclysm. So it's a pretty good chunk of time, and it follows the story of the Lich King, really from creation all the way up until his defeat. It follows a lot of the formation of the Horde and Alliance as we know it now. It talks a lot about Old God, Intrusion, and Deathwing, and the Dragonflights, and all that kind of stuff that we've seen and been around for many years. But what it does is it strings together a narrative as to how all of these things really are related. And one of the big things that I thought that was kind of a retcon, but maybe just filling in the blanks, is the fact that Shogal, the two-headed ogre that we defeated in Bastion of Twilight back in Cataclysm, that guy was way more active than we ever knew, and he was the one that was actually going around and releasing all the old gods from their chains.
Oh.
He was going in, and he was the one starting all the shit. And we just never knew this because he was working behind the scenes. And it's that kind of thing that the Warcraft Chronicle does a really good job of, is kind of filling in the gaps. Well, why was Yogg-Saron breaking out of his prison? Well, it's because Shogal and the Twilight's Hammer were up to some shit, and we didn't know it, and now we do. But the biggest thing really is that it brings us to the point in time where World of Warcraft hits, and we're us, the players, the champions of Azeroth, as they like to call us, finally get involved in saving pretty much everything. When it comes to dungeons, raids, world events. It talks about the major characters that we know, but how these characters influence the champions of the Horde or the champions of the Alliance, us, into going into this raid or going into this dungeon and defeating this bad guy and this bad guy. And one of the other things that it does is it establishes canon for which faction defeated which dungeon and which raid. So, Nav, I must ask you, have you played Alliance in your time as a Warcraft player?
Yeah, I mainly play Alliance.
Did you play Alliance in vanilla?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever defeat Nefarian?
Not as Alliance. I did it as Horde.
Well, guess what? Nobody else as Alliance did either officially, because only the Horde defeated Nefarian.
Oh.
So that's the kind of thing we're dealing with now, is that according to lore, there are times when only one faction was the one defeating the Nemesis, where it was combined Horde and Alliance to defeat the Lich King. Only the Alliance defeated Kil'jaeden and the Sunwell. Or in this case, the Alliance was not involved in Upper Blackrock Spire, but we did kill Anexia.
That's crazy.
So there's a whole list of stuff, and I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but if you go on Wowhead if you want, you can see the whole rundown. They have a whole list there. Or you can just get the book and read it and see what you may have had a fever dream in terms of participating in. But they are establishing canonically which factions were involved in the defeat of which baddies, which, hey, listen, I guess someone's got to set the record straight. But one of the other big things in terms of canon and retcons and that kind of stuff was with Illidan. And with the Legion expansion, adding the Demon Hunters and really going way back into how the Demon Hunters were essentially born, Illidan's mission, all of that kind of stuff. They had to weave in a whole bunch of stuff going back to Warcraft 3 and the original Burning Crusade, all of that stuff, and kind of rejigger his motivations. It was always, no, I'm not siding with the Legion. I'm just making them think that I am so I can come back later and defeat them. There was a lot of that kind of stuff, but it works. At the end of the day, it works. It ties everything together. I can't say enough about these chronicles. Not only is it great to get bite-sized chunks. I mean, it's a 200-page book, but it really is a bite-sized chunk of the lore. On top of the phenomenal art that they have in these books, there's, I want to say, 8 or so different artists that were involved. Peter Lee, who is one of the major artists who's been pumping out art for them for years, has these beautiful 2-page spreads for each one of the chapters, and I can't say enough about them. There's some pieces in there that I really wish I could buy just as art pieces and hang on my wall. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So if you're into Warcraft, which if you're listening to the show, I suppose you should be, you want to get caught up on your lore, you want to see some great artwork in the process, get these chronicles. Honestly, they're fantastic reads, good for the soul. Can't say enough about them. So Nav, I know you're looking to catch up on your lore. So
yeah, I'll probably pick this up.
I'll send you these as a Christmas gift.
No.
One more thing before we go. We did get another reader email.
Oh, I love reader emails.
And once again, it was from our brother-in-arms, Rommel.
All right. Thanks, Rommel.
Who actually sent this to me several weeks ago, and I didn't realize that this was meant for public consumption. So my apologies, dear Rommel, a great and loyal listener to this show. So I will go ahead and read his email now, because he has some suggestions for us that we might want to consider. It says, "Hey, Berzerker and Navox, I enjoyed your last episode with the Roe interview. I really feel like you guys brought a furious professionalism that isn't usually experienced in other podcast interviews." I appreciate that. Thank you. And keeping that in mind, I had a couple of ideas for future interviews in no particular order. Number 1, Leroy Jenkins. Number 2, Asmongold. Number 3, the creator for World of Warcraft. 4, Taryn Gregory. And 5, Sal from the Converted. Keep up the good work. Your brother in arms, Rommel. So, we've been given 5 suggestions. The first, Leroy Jenkins. I guess the individual who is Leroy Jenkins, or at least that's his character in game, is he still involved in the WoW community? Have you seen him do anything recently?
Recently, I thought he was he went to the WoW premiere. I remember that, and then
The Warcraft movie premiere?
Yeah, the Warcraft movie premiere. I believe he was there. And God, he was in something recently with an interview, and I forget what it was. It was real recent though that he was involved with.
Okay,
yeah.
So maybe that's a possibility. Maybe that's a possibility.
Maybe.
He would want to come on this show, because I'm sure that there is more that we could mine from. I don't know what more we could possibly mine out of the whole Leroy Jenkins video. But hey, listen, maybe he'd be willing to come on. I don't know. Number 2, Asmongold, who is a well-known warrior streamer.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Has been around for several years. I feel like he might be a little too large.
Yeah.
For this show.
He fits.
Might be a little.
He would fit the show perfectly though. With the
I think he would make an excellent guest. I just don't know if we are high enough on the radar for that to matter. Because frankly, we will bring him nothing.
Right.
Number 3, and this is an interesting one, the creator for World of Warcraft, and I'm saying that correctly, World of Warcraft, which was a porn series about 10 years ago or so. And in fact, they were sued, or at least had some kind of cease and desist thing that was issued, because there's no way that Blizzard's going to allow that.
Right, exactly.
So they actually changed the name to Horlor some many years ago. You know, I, under the cover of darkness, went to their website, and as far as I can tell, it doesn't exist anymore unless you go on one of those other free sites that I'm going to pretend not to know about. So, yeah, I don't know if we'd be able to get to the creator. However, there was an actress on one of those shorts.
Oh, no.
Whose name is, or was, or professionally known as Mia Rose, who played a night elf in a scene, and it was a good one. And I don't know. Maybe we could get her on the show. I don't know. She was an avid Warcraft player at one time, and then apparently, according to an article I read, she was banned from Warcraft because of the video.
Wow. Okay.
But I will say she has an NPC in the game.
Oh.
In the Twilight Highlands, Mia the Rose, who I think even is part of a quest. So I don't know. There may be something there for us to figure out. I'll have to surreptitiously try to work some back channels, no pun intended, to see if we can work out some kind of an interview there if she's so inclined, or anyone else tied to what is now known as Horlor. Taron Gregory, number 4. Listen, everybody loves Taron Gregory. I don't know, again, if he would lower himself to the standards of the show. I mean, he was recently interviewed by the Starting Zone, and I think that interview was fairly well received, so that's probably the most you're going to get out of him. We chat, and I don't even call it that, on Twitter every now and again, and I've met him a couple times, and we've talked, and I think that we have a friendly association, but I don't think that's enough to get anybody from that level onto the show. 5, Sal from the Converted. Listen, Sal is a dear friend of this show. She's a friend of mine. She's a friend of Navox's. She is welcome on this show anytime she would like to come on and promote any one of her million projects that she's working on. She is she's a great individual. So Sal, if you listen to this, if you want to come on the show, you are more than welcome to. Girl, just give us a call. We will always take it, and we'll shoot the shit. So
yeah, absolutely,
that may be the most realistic option, is getting Sal on the show. All right. Well, I think that does it for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people on the internet find you, Navox?
Find me on Twitter. I am at NAV_OX. Still working on that name change at some point, but still the same right now.
Have you gotten any suggestions from the crowd?
No suggestions yet from the crowd, but I want to maintain.
Come on, people.
I want to maintain the NAV in there somewhere, but NAVOX even. But hey, if somebody has a better suggestion, let me know.
Well, at the beginning of the show, you were Brother Navo.
I know.
So you can always take Navo.
There you go.
Very nouveau. Oh, God. We're so bad. As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. Well, hold the phone. We have some late-breaking news. BlizzCon 2018 has just been announced. As we talked about in the last episode, I had a feeling it might be just around the corner, and here it is. BlizzCon 2018 will be live November 2nd and 3rd, still from the Anaheim Convention Center. Tickets will be going on sale May 9th at 7 Pacific time. That will be for the first round of ticket sales. The second round of ticket sales will be Saturday, May 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Both of those $199 for the 2-day ticket, a limit of 4 per order. And if you are a high roller, which I am not, you can put in for the BlizzCon Benefit Dinner ticket sale Wednesday, May 16th at 7 p.m., and those tickets go for $750. So I wish all of you luck. There'll certainly be more BlizzCon news to follow, but just wanted to throw this one in here. Late-breaking news, BlizzCon 2018, up and running. Looking forward to hearing more news on that. Once again, thank you for listening, and until next time, keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we will catch you next round. Rage on!